In the heart of Abuja stood one of the most prestigious schools in the country, St. Catherine's Boarding School, a place of discipline, excellence, and privilege. But behind the tall gates and polished uniforms, darkness was brewing. Among the students were three inseparable girls. Chinwe, the fearless ringleader with a sharp tongue and no fear of authority. Kemi, the loud follower who laughed at every insult and stirred every trouble. And Adana, the quiet one, too timid to lead, too weak to resist. Together they called themselves the Queens, and because their parents were powerful, they lived without consequences. Skipping prep classes, mocking teachers, and tormenting their fellow students. To them, bullying was a game, and no one could stop them. But their reign was about to be tested. One new term, a girl arrived at St. Catherine's. Her name was Amara Eze. She wasn't from a wealthy home. She came on scholarship, the daughter of struggling parents who believed education was her ticket to a better life. Amara was soft-spoken, polite, and humble. But what she lacked in wealth, she carried in brilliance. From her first week, Amara outperformed everyone in her class. She answered the toughest questions with ease. Teachers praised her, and the students admired her. And slowly, all eyes turned from the Queens to this new girl. The Queens, Chinwe, Kemi, and Adana noticed, and they didn't like it. At first, they tried the usual tricks, mocking her uniform, calling her village girl, stealing her notebooks, and locking her in the bathroom before class. But Amara didn't cower. She held her head high. She fought back with dignity and intelligence. One afternoon, after Chinwe insulted her openly in class, Amara replied, "At least I didn't buy my grades." The room exploded in laughter. For the first time, the Queens were humiliated, and humiliation to them meant revenge. What started as whispers of anger grew into a dangerous plan. They planned to scare Amara, teach her a lesson so deep she would never dare to stand up to them again. But some lessons go too far. One night, they lured her to the old abandoned hostel block with a fake note. Amara, thinking it was urgent, walked into the trap. The three stepped out of the shadows. "Welcome, genius," Kemi sneered. "You think you can embarrass us?" Chinwe hissed. "Leave me alone." "I've done nothing to you," Amara cried. They shoved her, cornered her, and silenced her pleas. Adana trembled, whispering, "Let's stop. This is enough." But Chinwe snapped back, "Don't be weak." And then it happened. One shove too strong, one scream cut short. Amara fell. Her head hit the hard floor. Silence followed. The girls froze. Kemi whispered, panicked, "She's not moving. She's not moving." Adana shook violently, tears in her eyes, but Chinwe's voice cut through the fear. "Quiet. If anyone finds out, we're finished." In desperation, they carried her lifeless body to the restroom. They placed her near the sink, arranging her as though she had fainted, slipped, and hit her head. To the world, it would look like an accident. By morning, the news shook the school. The principal gathered everyone. His voice was heavy. "It is with deep sorrow that I announce the passing of Amara Eze. She slipped and hit her head last night." The school wailed, students wept, and teachers bowed their heads. And then came her parents, her mother screaming and wailing in anguish, her father broken beyond words. They had sent their daughter to school for a brighter future, only to receive her lifeless body. The case was closed as an accident. No questions asked, no suspicion raised. The power of the guilty shielded them once again. But the grave does not silence truth. Not long after Amara's burial, strange things began at St. Catherine's. Lights flickered in empty dormitories. Students whispered of footsteps in deserted corridors. Some fell mysteriously ill. and the queens could not sleep. Kemi woke screaming from nightmares, shouting, "I saw her! She was staring at me." Adana heard a voice when no one was around. "Why me, Adana? Why me?" Even Chinwe, bold as she was, began to shake at shadows. But pride held her tongue. The guilt festered, the fear spread, and soon the school itself grew restless. Finally, during a morning assembly, Adana could no longer bear it. Her chest heaved, her hands shook, and in front of the entire school, she screamed, "It wasn't an accident. We killed her. We killed Amara." The courtyard fell silent. Teachers stared. Students gasped. Chinwe tried to grab her arm, whispering, "Shut up, Adana. Shut up." But Adana tore free, tears streaming down her face. "She won't leave me. She won't leave us. It's the truth." And just like that, the secret was no longer theirs to keep. Investigations followed. Parents were summoned. The truth was undeniable. The 3 girls were expelled, disgraced, and sent away to juvenile rehabilitation. The power of their families could no longer protect them from the weight of their crime. Amara's parents were invited back to the school for a final rite. In the chapel, they lit a candle in her memory. Her mother whispered through tears, "Justice has found you, my daughter. Rest now." And that night, the air in St. Catherine's felt lighter. The shadows faded. The whispers ceased. The spirit of Amara Yees had found peace. But the scar she left remained, a reminder carved into the hearts of all who witnessed it. Because bullying is never just a game. Sometimes it costs a life, and sometimes the dead will not rest until the truth is told.